everybody, this is Dan Miller for Bluegrass Unlimited magazine, and this is another part in the series that I've been doing about building a Scruggs style vocabulary on the 5-string banjo. We did several lessons where we talked about different G licks that you could add to your vocabulary, and then we did a couple songs that utilized some of those licks. We did Blue Ridge Cabin Home and we did 9-Pound Hammer. Now, today I'd like to move into C licks. And again, I think building a good vocabulary of various, we'll call them phrases or licks that you can play over a certain chord is a way to build towards creating your own solos or improvisation in Scruggs style banjo. Again, I want to emphasize that it's not just merely throwing random licks over top of chord changes, okay? Because that's not going to fit the melody, and you want to fit the melody in bluegrass music. So the reason for putting together a pretty wide vocabulary in a Scruggs style is so that you can learn eventually in an intuitive way to fit various licks over the chord changes that will help state the melody of the song. And that's why it's good to have a variety, is because then in the variety that you have, you can intuitively pull out those that will fit the melody of the song. Or, you know, going into your woodshed and practice. First, just find the melody of the song, and then practice fitting in your rolls and your licks around that melody so that you'll be hitting those melody notes at the same time that they're supposed to be played, or close enough to it so that when you play your solo, it sounds like you're playing the melody of the song. That's the goal here. And again, you know, anybody that's listened to Earl Scruggs, he was a master at that. You know, he was a master of manipulating the licks and the rolls so that he stated the melody of the song in a strong way, and still made it his own, made it creative, and made it very interesting to listen to. And that's what we're after here. Okay, so we've done G stuff, the stuff you can play over the G chord. Next we're going to play stuff that you play over the C chord. And like I said, when we did G licks, a lot of this is coming out of the major pentatonic scale. With the C licks, we're going to also add the flat 7 note, which in C is the B flat note. And that, again, like we said last time over the G, it just gives it a little bit of a bluesy feel. So you might want to add that in, but pretty much you're going to play major pentatonic. And for C, if I'm holding down my C chord here at the first position, right? So I've got the E, C, and G notes. That's what we've got that make up the C chord. What I'm going to add to that is the second scale degree, which is D, and I'm going to add the 6th scale degree, which is A. So again, that forms the major pentatonic scale. And if you go through and study licks that Earl played over a C chord, that's pretty much the notes that he was playing in a variety of different ways, with a variety of different rolls, a variety of different patterns. But if you learn where your pentatonic scale notes are, first learn where your chord notes are and just play the chord with your rolls. That's step one. Next, learn those major pentatonic notes and add those in, and then you might add in the flat 7 note, which is a B flat over a C chord, to add a little bit of interest. And the licks that we're going to go over will have all of those things added in. All right, so here we go with lick number 1. Okay, so there you can look at the tab. If you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't got to it from the Bluegrass Unlimited magazine webpage, go to bluegrassunlimited.com, look on the lessons page, and there'll be a PDF that you can download that has the tab on this. But I'm basically playing my, forward backward roll. It's a forward backward my C chord, I'm doing a little hammer. So I'm just doing that forward backward roll several times in a row, and I'm playing over, holding down my C chord. I'm hammering from a D to E on the low D string. And then I'm playing that B flat note at the second part of it before I end it. And that B flat note again is going to put a little bit of a bluesy feel in there. And I could go into a G lick after that. That would follow very nicely. So that's lick number 1. The next lick is lick number 2, is going to be a very similar pattern as far as your fingering, but I'm just going to change the right hand roll. So instead of a forward and then backward roll, I'm going to do more like an alternating roll. And then you could go into, again, a G lick after that. So that lick number 1 and lick number 2 are very similar in the left hand fingering, but you're just changing your right hand roll. And again, that's just for variety, or it may fit the melody better. Okay, C lick number 3 is a more sparse note, and whereas the last two started the lick on a hammer down to the E note, which is the 3rd scale degree of the C scale, this one we're going to start right on the C note. So it's just a real sparse little lick with added note with a pinch on the second part. Okay, so that's lick number 3, pretty straightforward on that one. All right, lick number 4 starts back on that hammer on the E note, kind of very similar to the front part of lick number 2, but then we change it a little bit. That's how I recommend you guys, once you get the lick under your fingers, just do it over and over and over and over again till you sort of start to build it in your muscle memory. But again, very straightforward with that one. That was lick number 4. All right, lick number 5. Okay. Now, we talked about using pentatonic scale, and we've been using this D note hammering onto an E, you know, or you could play the open D and just use it as a pick note without hammering onto E. You also have a high D string here, so this lick takes advantage of using this this D note and E note alternatively as you hit that first string. So that's another thing you can think about. When playing over C chord, you can lift that finger up and put it down while you're rolling across that for have a different kind of texture to your licks. So that's one thing you can mess around with and play with that. Not just playing around with this move from D to E, but also this move from D to E, or E to D back again. So that's another thing that you can work in over your C chord. Lick number 6. So that's a little bit sparse lick, but also adds this pull-off from the A note to the G note on the pull-off from 2 to 0 on the G string. Okay, before we were having a hammer on from the D to the E here. Now we're going to pull off on the G string from the A note to the G. That's lick number 6. Here's lick number 7. And that last note, that E note on the D string, if you want to keep doing that lick over and over and over again, leave that one off. Let that last note before that be a quarter note, and it's easier to just go over and over and over. Okay, so you can practice it over and over and over again, leaving that last note off, or you could just do it by itself. Okay, you can practice that either way. And again, that's we're starting with a double stop right off the bat instead of just a C note. We got the C and the E played together, and then we're going in and doing that pull off on the second part of that, just like we did on the previous lick number 6. So there's lick number 7. Okay, and finally we have lick number 8. Now lick number 8 is going to take advantage of the fact that we have a C chord right here, straight across at the 5th fret. So we've been doing everything out of this C position, but we can also do stuff out of this C position and go back and forth between the two, from the 5th fret to the 1st position here, C chord. So this one's going to go. Okay, and you know, I'm playing that that closed A note here. You could pull that off. Anytime that you get these notes, like the D to the E here, the D to the E here, the A to the G there, you can throw in these hammers and pull-offs whenever you want to use them. But lick number 8 starts here and moves back here. Maybe next time we'll do some licks that start here and move up here and move back there. That's a cool thing to do when you're playing over the C chord, is learn how to switch between this C chord position and this C chord inversion here at the 5th fret. You can do some cool things, and we'll talk about some more of that in future videos. One other thing I'd recommend is that you have this D, E, you have this A, G, you have this D, E here, but that's all part of the pentatonic, and then you got that B flat note. And just mess around. So just mess around. Just play pull-offs here, play hammer-ons here. You can go, play around with pulling off that, play around coming up here. Play around with moving positions. I tell my students, once they learn a few of these licks in C or G, whatever it is, just to take that chord and play over it for as long as you can, coming up with your own ideas, your own rhythms, your own kind of way of putting all those things together in an improvisational way, so that you can get accustomed to what those licks sound like and how to improvisationally weave them together. And again, sometimes it might take a little woodshedding to see which ones fit together nicely, but you know, after a while, when a song is going down in the moment, you'll hear these things in your head and your fingers will go right to them. That's what we're working towards. That's the idea of working towards your own arrangements and improvisation. So again, Dan Miller here for Bluegrass Unlimited magazine, and we'll look at a few more things in C the next time, and then maybe we'll go back to a few tunes that use the G licks and the C licks that we've been working on. All right, we'll see you next time.